Hey, excuse me. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Who we 186? Fucking coughing fits. Anyways, who we 186, and I am live currently from Best Buy. I had to buy a phone, but I actually watched the Microsoft E3 press conference 2018, and here are my thoughts. Ultimately, this was the best Microsoft E3 conference they've had in a long time, right? And the reason why I say this is because every time when it comes to these conferences, right? Obviously, you show games or whatever. You talk about, this and that, new features and all the other stuff. All that stuff is well and good, right? All that stuff is great. All that stuff is what we as gamers really should care about. But for the company, they have to show people what the future holds for that company, right? And for a long time, a lot of people, and people have been wondering what Microsoft comes to console gaming. Now, I'm not saying that this conference should alleviate people's concerns about Microsoft and that's their main goal. Their main goal is to have, to be deep into that games as a service model. It is where the money is right now. So that's just how it is. So the show itself started off with Halo Infinite. They didn't really talk about it much. All they did was show a trailer. They showed the helmet. So my guess from a lot of people is that this is probably going to be an open world Halo game, maybe. And I mean, we'll see how it goes. They really didn't show much. Obviously they had a lot of third-party stuff there. Nier Automata is coming to the Xbox. They showed. I'm not going in order, by the way. They showed Devil May Cry 5, which is obviously gonna be multi-plat. They showed what did they show? I think they showed the Black Desert game, the game that's coming. That I believe that's also. You saw that, right? That Florida has the worst drivers in the world, people. I'm just letting you know that right now. Florida has the worst drivers in the world. But regardless, they showed this Black Desert game. I believe that's what it was called. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. They showed this Jump Force. This is a Shonen Jump inspired game. I don't know if it's. I heard some people say that there's a game like that before where it had characters from Naruto, DBZ, and One Piece. I never played that game, but the trailer looked epic. It looked good. As far as the exclusive front, they showed Crackdown 3. They didn't really show. They showed kind of like an action reel. They didn't really show any gameplay. But with that said, the game is coming out, and despite some of my concerns, I think there's still fun to be had with the game. So I'm definitely buying that day one. What else is there? They showed Ori and the Blind Forest 2. I never got a chance to play the first one. I should try to play the first one before 2 comes out. So we'll see what happens there. They showed Forza Horizon 4, which looked amazing, and they have this thing where it's gonna go in seasons where the environment will change depending on the season. That looked great. I still say, throughout all the races that's come out this generation, Drive Club, in my opinion, still is the best looking. But this one definitely has a chance. Forza Horizon 3 is the best racer this generation, and hopefully, Forza Horizon 4 just adds to that. So you have that. As far as it's not necessarily an exclusive, by the way. This is more of a console launch exclusive. Session, that skateboarding game, kind of like inspired by Skate. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. That's a day one buy for me. What else did they show? I mean, the last 2 games that they showed was Gear. I'm not necessarily surprised that they ended the show with Cyberpunk, because that game has a lot of hype going behind it. Plus, it's from CD Projekt Red. And all right, it was something similar to that, and Sunset Overdrive, which was really the only thing like about that game. I don't like that type of gameplay, but the story looks so interesting. You know, it seems like the single player campaign revolves more around Cat, and you know, I'm interested to see how it is. Hopefully, I mean, I'm gonna give the story mode a try anyway. I'm definitely buying Gears. If nothing else, if nothing's stopping me, I'll buy Gears day one. So we have that. And that was it. I mean, they showed a lot of games at the show. Like they touted 50 games at the show. You know, like 18 of them were exclusive, whether either it was outright or console launch exclusive. But obviously, in my opinion, the biggest news to come out of this was the acquisition of the studios that Microsoft has bought. And I don't have all of them by heart. I don't have all of them in the top of my head. I know they bought Undead Labs, the creators of State of Decay 2. They bought Compulsion Games, which I believe they make We Happy Few. But the main one was Ninja Theory. And let me say this: I'm not saying necessarily that Ninja Theory is some like top level developer, because in my opinion they're not. But at the same time, you look at a studio like that has made some great games. They have some great games in their repertoire. Like you look at a game that I played when the PSP first came out was Heavenly Sword. Heavenly Sword is a highly slept on game. And to me that was a great game. I really did like that, especially for a launch title. It was a great game. Obviously they made I believe they made the last Devil May Cry game, and they also made Hellblade, which was a smash hit on you know, it was a critical success on the PS4, and it recently came out on the Xbox. And Microsoft having that studio is a big deal because, you know, I don't know if anyone mentioned this, but you look at a game like look at Scalebound, right? Remember how that game, you know, got canceled and all this stuff. And to me, a studio like Ninja Theory can go back to that game, because I think Microsoft still owns the license to that game. They own the rights to that game. So if you get a studio like Ninja Theory, who's under your wing, you don't have to worry about anything regarding, you know, they don't have to worry about anything regarding, you know, being separated. Again, worst drivers in Florida. Worst drivers are in Florida. But anyways, you don't have to worry about anything regarding, you know, any type of outside projects like you had to with Platinum Games. You have a studio that's already experienced, that's already seasoned, that's on your side. And I mean, they can make the Scalebound game that they wanted, or they can make something completely new. Phil Spencer said that they are giving their developers the creative freedom to do what they please, and I hope he stands by that, because in my opinion that has been the biggest, like, it's not just the fact that Sony Studios in my opinion are better than the Microsoft Studios to be creative and to take risks, right? And that's something that we never got, that you don't really get from Microsoft Studios. And hopefully this piece of news will change all that. Hopefully the piece of news will change all of that. So that's why ultimately that's why I gave the score on Twitter. I gave it a B+, because ultimately they show a lot of cool games. The exclusives that they're showing are going to come out, are definitely going to come out eventually. So you obviously, with Sessions, Crackdown, Halo, we'll see how Halo is. But in Gears 5, those are all games that I'm interested in. So I'm good there. Plus, they highlighted, they took a concern that people had when it comes to their first party studios, and they, seemingly corrected it. Now, obviously, it's gonna be a little while before we see what these studios accomplish. But at the same time, if you're one of these people, and I know there's a lot of you people out there, my PlayStation brothers, I know there's a lot of you out there who criticize Microsoft for not having studios, by having a weak first party lineup. Listen, at the end of the day, you wanted them to get studios, that's what they got. You know what I mean? If you want studios, that's what they got. That's what they. That you wanted them to buy them. That's what they're getting. They're getting the studios, and you know, hopefully. And I know they also kind of teased new consoles down the pipeline. So in that first year for Microsoft, the first couple years for Microsoft, when it comes to a new console generation, is going to be important and is going to be good because they have these studios in their back pocket. Now, that doesn't mean that everything's going to be a success. You look at what happened with Rare, and yes, I know Rare still exists, and I know people are excited I know people are happy about Sea of Thieves and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, for a long time, them buying that studio, a studio that was once renowned, one of the best in the world, did not really produce for them outside of a bunch of crappy ass Kinect games. So again, we still have to wait and see. But I think that when it comes to what Phil Spencer wants to do, I think hopefully it'll come into fruition. Hopefully it'll be a good thing for Microsoft. So overall, I thought the conference was great from Microsoft. I gave it a B+. Now we have to see what Sony does tomorrow. As far as like I said, I think I said it in one of my little, you know, solo podcasts or whatever. I think Sony has played their hand already. But with that said, you know, just because they played their hand doesn't mean that, you know, games like Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us, Death Stranding, seeing gameplay of those games, it doesn't mean it's still not a big deal. If they show gameplay of those games and they have just a kick-ass conference, then I mean, as gamers, we should all be happy. So that's pretty much it. Hoovy186, I am out. Peace.